When seeking resources for fire alarm training, several books and manuals offer valuable information. Firstly, the NFPA 101 Life Safety Code Handbook, specifically the 11th edition, provides a comprehensive guide to fire alarm system design, installation, and maintenance. It covers various aspects of life safety as it relates to fire protection systems. Secondly, the Fire Alarm Systems Installation and Maintenance Manual by John J. Castellucci serves as a practical guide with detailed instructions on installing and maintaining fire alarm systems. This manual can be useful for hands-on training and understanding real-world applications. Thirdly, Fire Alarm Design and Installation by Carl H. Westberg offers in-depth coverage of fire alarm system design and installation principles. This book is suitable for those looking to gain a deeper understanding of the technical aspects of fire alarm systems. Fourthly, the Fire Protection Systems Handbook, 3rd edition, by Philip Dineno acts as an extensive resource covering all aspects of fire protection, including fire alarms. This handbook provides a broad overview of fire protection concepts and practices. Fifthly, Fire Alarm Management and Response by Dennis J. Foley focuses on fire alarm system management, response protocols, and training. This resource is beneficial for understanding how to effectively manage fire alarm systems and respond to alarms. In addition to these books, several manuals provide specific technical information. Firstly, the UL 268 Standard for Smoke Detectors for Fire Alarm Systems, published by UL LLC, is an industry standard for smoke detectors. It provides technical specifications and testing requirements that smoke detectors must meet. Secondly, the UL 268 A Standard for Heat Detectors for Fire Alarm Systems, also by UL LLC, is the industry standard for heat detectors. It covers the design, installation, and testing of heat detectors used in fire alarm systems. Thirdly, the NFPA 72 National Fire Alarm and Signaling Code Handbook, specifically the 2023 edition, provides guidelines and requirements for the installation, testing, and maintenance of fire alarm systems. This handbook is essential for understanding and complying with fire alarm codes. Fourthly, the IF Standard for Professional Qualifications Fire Alarm Systems, published by the International Association of Fire Chiefs, defines the knowledge and skills required for fire alarm system professionals. This standard can be used to develop training programs and assess the competency of fire alarm technicians. Fifthly, the ANSI/UL 864 Standard for Control Units for Fire Alarm Systems, published by UL LLC, sets the industry standard for fire alarm control units, specifying functional and performance requirements. Understanding these standards and guidelines is essential for ensuring the proper operation and maintenance of fire alarm systems. Each of these resources addresses different aspects of fire alarm systems. These resources can be used in conjunction with one another to create a comprehensive fire alarm training program. For example, the NFPA 72 Handbook can be used to teach the code requirements for fire alarm systems, while the Fire Alarm Systems Installation and Maintenance Manual can be used to provide hands-on training in installing and maintaining fire alarm systems. Similarly, the UL standards can be used to teach the technical specifications for smoke and heat detectors. When selecting resources for fire alarm training, it is important to consider the specific needs of the audience. For example, if the audience is new to fire alarm systems, then it would be beneficial to start with a basic overview of fire alarm systems before moving on to more technical topics. If the audience is already familiar with fire alarm systems, then it would be beneficial to focus on more advanced topics such as fire alarm system design or troubleshooting. It is also important to consider the learning styles of the audience. Some people learn best by reading, while others learn best by doing. Therefore, it is important to use a variety of teaching methods such as lectures, demonstrations, and hands-on activities. In addition to the resources mentioned above, there are also a number of online resources available for fire alarm training. These resources include websites, online courses, and videos. Online resources can be a convenient way to learn about fire alarm systems, especially for those who are unable to attend traditional training courses. However, it is important to ensure that the online resources are accurate and up to date. When using online resources, it is also important to be aware of the potential for misinformation. There are many websites and online courses that claim to provide fire alarm training, but not all of these resources are created equal. It is important to carefully evaluate the credibility of the source before relying on the information. In summary, there are a number of excellent resources available for fire alarm training. By carefully selecting resources that meet the specific needs of the audience, you can ensure that they receive a comprehensive and effective fire alarm training program. NFPA 72, the National Fire Alarm and Signaling Code, is a comprehensive standard that covers the application, installation, location, performance, inspection, testing, and maintenance of fire alarm systems, fire and carbon monoxide alarm equipment, and emergency communication systems. NFPA 72 is updated every 3 years, and the latest edition is the 2022 edition. It is important to use the latest edition of NFPA 72 to ensure that you are following the most up-to-date requirements. NFPA 101, the Life Safety Code, is a widely used source for strategies to protect people based on building construction, protection, and occupancy features that minimize the effects of fire and other hazards. The Life Safety Code is updated every 3 years, and the latest edition is the 2024 edition. UL standards are developed by Underwriters Laboratories, a global safety certification company. UL standards cover a wide range of products, including fire alarm equipment. UL standards are developed through a consensus process that involves manufacturers, consumers, and other stakeholders. The International Association of Fire Chiefs, or IAFC, is a professional organization that represents fire chiefs and other fire service leaders from around the world. The IAFC develops standards and guidelines for the fire service, including standards for fire alarm systems. When designing, installing, and maintaining fire alarm systems, consider the specific occupancy classification. Occupancy classifications such as assembly, business, educational, healthcare, residential, and industrial each have specific fire safety requirements that dictate the type of fire alarm system needed. System designers should consult the applicable building and fire codes to ensure the selected system meets the requirements for the occupancy. This could include the need for manual fire alarm boxes, smoke detectors, sprinkler systems, and emergency voice evacuation systems. The environment in which a fire alarm system is installed can significantly impact its performance and longevity. High humidity, extreme temperatures, corrosive atmospheres, and dusty conditions can all damage system components and reduce their effectiveness. When selecting equipment, choose devices that are rated for the specific environmental conditions. Consider using sealed enclosures, conformal coatings, and other protective measures to safeguard the system from environmental hazards. Proper wiring practices are critical for the reliable operation of a fire alarm system. All wiring must comply with the National Electrical Code and any applicable local codes. Use the correct wire gauge for the current and voltage requirements of the system, and ensure that all connections are tight and secure. Properly label all wiring to facilitate troubleshooting and maintenance. Use shielded cable to protect against electromagnetic interference, and run wiring in conduit to protect against physical damage. Fire alarm systems must be regularly inspected, tested, and maintained to ensure they are functioning properly. NFPA 72 provides detailed requirements for inspection, testing, and maintenance. These requirements include periodic testing of all system components, such as smoke detectors, heat detectors, manual fire alarm boxes, and alarm notification appliances. Regular maintenance should include cleaning detectors, checking battery backup systems, and verifying proper operation of the fire alarm control panel. Keep detailed records of all inspections, tests, and maintenance activities. It is important to train building occupants on the proper use of the fire alarm system and what to do in the event of a fire. Training should include instructions on how to activate manual fire alarm boxes, how to recognize alarm signals, and how to evacuate the building safely. Conduct regular fire drills to familiarize occupants with the evacuation procedures. Post emergency evacuation plans in prominent locations throughout the building. It is important to document all aspects of the fire alarm system, including design drawings, installation records, testing and maintenance records, and training records. These records are essential for troubleshooting, maintenance, and future system upgrades. Keep the documentation in a secure location and make it readily accessible to authorized personnel. Fire alarm systems often integrate with other building systems such as sprinkler systems, HVAC systems, and access control systems. Proper integration can enhance the overall fire protection of the building. For example, the fire alarm system can activate the sprinkler system, shut down the HVAC system to prevent the spread of smoke, and unlock doors to facilitate evacuation. Ensure that all integrated systems are compatible and properly coordinated. The National Electrical Code, or NEC, contains requirements for the installation of electrical systems, including fire alarm systems. Chapter 7 of the NEC covers special conditions, including fire alarm systems. Article 760 covers fire alarm systems specifically. Comply with the requirements of the NEC when installing and maintaining fire alarm systems. This includes proper wiring methods, overcurrent protection, and grounding. In addition to the resources previously mentioned, consider obtaining certifications from organizations such as the National Institute for Certification in Engineering Technologies, or NICET. NICET offers certifications for fire alarm technicians and engineers which can demonstrate your knowledge and expertise in the field. Obtaining NICET certification can enhance your credibility and improve your career opportunities. When working with fire alarm systems, always prioritize safety. Follow all safety procedures and wear appropriate personal protective equipment such as safety glasses, gloves, and hearing protection. Energize circuits before working on them and use lockout-tagout procedures to prevent accidental energization. Be aware of potential hazards such as electrical shock, falls, and exposure to hazardous materials. Fire alarm technology is constantly evolving, so it is important to stay up to date on the latest advancements. Attend industry conferences, read trade publications, and take continuing education courses to learn about new products, technologies, and best practices. Staying informed will help you provide the best possible service to your clients. Effective communication is essential when working with fire alarm systems. Clearly communicate with building owners, occupants, and other stakeholders about the system's design, operation, and maintenance. Provide clear and concise instructions on how to use the system and what to do in the event of a fire. Listen carefully to their concerns and address them promptly. Fire alarm systems are critical life safety systems, so it is important to treat them with the utmost care and respect. By following these guidelines, you can help ensure that fire alarm systems are properly designed, installed, maintained, and operated, protecting lives and property from the dangers of fire. When troubleshooting a fire alarm system, start by gathering as much information as possible about the problem. Ask questions such as when did the problem start, what are the symptoms, and what has changed recently. Review the system documentation, including design drawings, installation records, and testing records. Use a systematic approach to isolate the cause of the problem. Check the power supply, wiring connections, and all system components. Use a multimeter to measure voltages and currents. Use a tone generator and probe to trace wiring. If you are unable to resolve the problem, consult with a qualified fire alarm technician or engineer. False alarms can be a significant problem for fire alarm systems. They can disrupt building operations, cause unnecessary fire department responses, and erode confidence in the system. To minimize false alarms, it is important to properly design, install, and maintain the system. Use appropriate types of detectors for the environment, and regularly clean and test the detectors. Educate building occupants on how to avoid causing false alarms. Investigate the cause of all false alarms and take corrective action. When designing a fire alarm system, it is important to consider the needs of people with disabilities. The Americans with Disabilities Act, or ADA, requires that fire alarm systems be accessible to people with disabilities. This includes providing visual and audible alarms, as well as tactile alarms for people who are deaf or hard of hearing, and ensure that the system complies with the requirements of the ADA. Emergency communication systems are becoming increasingly common in buildings. These systems can be used to provide voice and text messages to building occupants during an emergency. Fire alarm systems can be integrated with emergency communication systems to provide a comprehensive emergency notification solution. When integrating these systems, ensure that they are properly coordinated and that the messages are clear and concise. Cybersecurity is becoming an increasingly important consideration for fire alarm systems. Fire alarm systems are often connected to the internet, which makes them vulnerable to cyber attacks. To protect fire alarm systems from cyber attacks, it is important to implement appropriate security measures such as firewalls, intrusion detection systems, and strong passwords. Regularly update the system's software and firmware, and monitor the system for suspicious activity. Alternative power sources are crucial for fire alarm systems to ensure functionality during power outages. Battery backup systems are the most common alternative power source, providing power to the system for a specified period. Generators can also be used as an alternative power source, providing longer-term power backup. The selection of the appropriate alternative power source depends on the size and complexity of the fire alarm system and the requirements of the applicable codes. Fire alarm control panels, or FACPs, are the central control units of fire alarm systems, monitoring and controlling the various system components. The FACP receives signals from detectors and manual fire alarm boxes, activates alarm notification appliances, and communicates with other building systems. The FACP should be located in a secure location that is readily accessible to authorized personnel. The FACP should be equipped with a clear and easy-to-read display that provides information about the system's status. Alarm notification appliances are the devices that alert building occupants to a fire or other emergency. These appliances can include horns, strobes, and speakers. Type and number of alarm notification appliances required depend on the size and occupancy of the building. Alarm notification appliances must be audible and visual, and they must meet the requirements of the ADA. Smoke detectors are the most common type of fire detector, and they are used to detect the presence of smoke in the air. There are two main types of smoke detectors: ionization smoke detectors and photoelectric smoke detectors. Ionization smoke detectors are more sensitive to flaming fires, while photoelectric smoke detectors are more sensitive to smoldering fires. Heat detectors are used to detect the presence of heat. They are typically used in areas where smoke detectors are not suitable, such as kitchens and garages. There are two main types of heat detectors: fixed temperature heat detectors and rate of rise heat detectors. Fixed temperature heat detectors activate when the temperature reaches a certain level, while rate of rise heat detectors activate when the temperature rises rapidly. Duct detectors are used to detect the presence of smoke in air ducts. They are typically used in HVAC systems to prevent the spread of smoke throughout the building. Duct detectors should be installed in accordance with the manufacturer's instructions and the requirements of the applicable codes. Manual fire alarm boxes, also known as pull stations, are used to manually activate the fire alarm system. They are typically located near exits and in other prominent locations throughout the building. Manual fire alarm boxes should be clearly labeled and readily accessible. Supervisory signals indicate a problem with the fire protection system, such as a closed sprinkler valve or a low water level in the fire sprinkler tank. Supervisory signals should be transmitted to a constantly attended location so that the problem can be addressed promptly. Trouble signals indicate a problem with the fire alarm system, such as a broken wire or a low battery. Trouble signals should be transmitted to a constantly attended location so that the problem can be addressed promptly.